I've been playing the guitar for a total of 21 years. These are the 5 things I wish I did differently. Regret number 1 is getting caught in the gear trap. Once you've been playing guitar for a certain amount of time, I think it's perfectly normal to start getting a little bit enamored with guitar gear. So new guitars, pedals, amps, and all the fun stuff that goes along with the hobby. The unfortunate thing that happened to me and so many others is that I became more interested in the gear than actually getting better at playing the instrument. So instead of practicing or working on something new or creative, instead, I was spending my time researching that next piece of gear. Eventually, it seemed like my entire motivation to play the guitar was completely consumed by that next piece of gear that I was looking forward to. And every single time I'd get that new piece of gear, thinking it would completely evolve my guitar playing, it was very exciting for the first couple days, but that wore off really fast and then I was on to the next thing. Don't get me wrong, gear is great and it's super important, and as you spend more and more time investing in your craft, it can be totally worth it to get that new pedal or work towards that new guitar. But now, looking back, I really wish I didn't spend so much time focused on the gear and I just spent more time practicing. Number 2, I relied on other people for my success and failure. And this goes for both collaborators and family and friends. As guitar players, a lot of times, if we want to get involved in musical projects, we have to play with other musicians. And obviously, when you're starting a band or something like that, the idea is that you're all moving towards the same goal. But the reality is that everyone is going to have a different level of commitment or a different amount of ambition. And a lot of times this can maybe leave you stuck in a band that's not going to give you the best opportunity for success. Now, that doesn't mean only look out for yourself, never play in a band. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying here. It's just that you need to be realistic with yourself and with your peers and the people that you are playing with, and make sure that if you are going to commit to something, that everyone's on the same page. When it comes to your family and friends, the reality is that their opinion on what you do or how much time you spend working on your instrument or what you're into, it is going to affect you. And what happened to me is I let other people influence my trajectory as a guitar player. Obviously, it's important to be realistic with yourself and where you're going, and some encouragement and guidance from family or friends or people you trust can go a really long way. But just keep in mind that you are in control of your own destiny. By the way, did you know that I have a Patreon page where I post a whole bunch of extra content, including things like bonus videos and also the official lesson notes for the more comprehensive guitar lessons that I put out on YouTube? If that's something that sounds interesting to you and you'd like to help support the channel, I will make sure to put a link to that Patreon page at the very top of the description of this video. And if Patreon's not really your thing, you can also access all the exact same stuff by becoming a YouTube channel member. So I'll make sure to put a link to that at the top of the description as well. Now let's get back to the video. Number 3, I thought I was good enough. When I was about 18 or 19 years old, I honestly thought I had arrived and I was as good as I needed to be. And essentially because of this, I completely stopped working on anything new. And when it came to all of my bad habits that I obviously had, well, I just thought that they were my style. And so I just let them get completely ingrained in my playing as every year went by. Rather than addressing these problems and fixing them and continuing to work on new things, I let myself plateau. Because of this, I literally feel like I wasted multiple years of my guitar journey. And if I would have just put my ego aside and taken an objective view at my guitar playing, I feel like I'd be able to reap those progress benefits now. Remember, plateaus are totally normal and they're honestly bound to happen. The key is to just not get too complacent. All right, number 4, I made excuses to not learn music theory. Now, growing up through middle school and high school, I played in a bunch of bands, and then when I graduated high school, I didn't go on to any sort of post-secondary music school. Because of this, I was never really forced to learn music theory, and as a result, I kind of thought I didn't need it. I mean, insert ex-guitar player who doesn't know music theory or whatever, and I just thought, oh, well, that's me. I don't need music theory. Music theory is gonna make me a worse musician. I know that's a myth that a lot of people seem to espouse, but I'll say it right now, loud and clear, music theory does not kill your creativity. Knowing and understanding what is actually happening and the relationship between notes and chords and scales and harmony, these things are only gonna deepen your relationship with your instrument. And instead of guitar being something that is a connection between your eyes and your hands, it becomes something that is more of a connection between your eyes, your hands, your ears, and your brain. And because I learned music theory so late, I mean, we're talking only 5 or 6 years ago, I've made it my entire mission on this YouTube channel to help a lot of you guys also be able to understand music theory in a little bit more of an accessible, interesting way. Music theory does not have to be boring, and it can be a really, really great way to have more fun on the guitar. Number 5, I neglected my rhythm. I wanted to be a lead guitar player. All of the guitar players I looked up to were ripping amazing solos and were lead guitarists. And that's what I wanted to be. So that meant that everything that I was working on was focusing on those lead guitar techniques, and my rhythm playing totally fell by the wayside. So as I improved, I kind of went like this, right? My lead playing was going up like this, but my rhythm playing, it wasn't quite keeping up. Something that's important to remember is that as a guitar player, even as a lead guitar player, you're still spending the majority of your time playing rhythm. And even when it comes to playing lead stuff, I think a really good sense of rhythm is one of those things that makes those guitar players so great. If I'm being completely honest, I think sense of rhythm and timing and feel is probably the #1 most important skill to be working on as a guitar player. Now, since then, I've put a ton of concerted effort and focus on improving my rhythm, and I feel like now I might even be a better rhythm player than I am lead player. But again, if I would have worked on them in a more balanced way, I feel like I'd be better at both today. So those are my biggest regrets. Are you guilty of any of these? And if you're a more experienced player, is there something that you look back on that you wish that you did differently? Please be sure to let us know in the comments. If you're looking for something to watch next, check out this video over here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.